And now I'd like to go on and talk a little bit about meditation. In Tibet, among lay people, there are some people who do extremely deep and profound meditative practice, such as Dzogchen and Mahamudra practice. However, the majority of people, as I said before, mainly focus on things like mantra recitation, devotional offerings, and don't do meditation. And what I'd like to talk about today is the absolute most basic form of meditation. We can liken it to if we need to walk out our door and go somewhere, the very first step that we take out our door. This practice or this method is not something that those of you who already have some practice in meditation necessarily need. However, even though it is the most simple, the most basic form of meditation, it's possible that many people don't know about it, aren't familiar with it. So I'd like to introduce this basic form of meditation. So prior to meditating, or at the beginning of meditation, we need to pay attention to three things. So before meditating, we need to do proper preparation. So the first thing that we need to do is, if we are going to be sitting down for 1 hour's meditation, that first of all we bring to a proper finish all of the work, all of the tasks that we are doing before we begin meditating. So we need to turn off our phones, maybe put our phones somewhere away from where we are. Looking at our phones while we're meditating won't be very good. So if we need to go to the bathroom or do something else, it's important that we first do all these things before we begin meditating. So if we're going to open the door, we need to first open the door. Close the door, we need to first close the door. So we can say that with meditation, it's important that we first do whatever it is we need to do. If we sit down to meditation and then get up thinking that we need to do this or that, then this will be an obstacle for our meditation practice. So now that we have studied this a bit, from today onwards, everybody should put aside some time to do meditation.
보반자 있나 되니 가서 배나 볼라 있나 되니 다 조바소 있나 장나란 되고티 학강세한다고 되니 로스요 말마도 가서 볼라 용근지나 롱바지 있나 거랑 되니 학강 메사가 되니 김성서 파치 직장요 말해서 정말라 초식즈니 되니 요리지 가실라 때 침보 요래 침보면나 총총 되니 맹ken요 말해서
So in our homes, most Tibetans inside Tibet have shrine rooms, with the exception of nomads in their tents. They don't have a separate shrine room. But for farmers and everybody else, everyone has a shrine room in their home. Some are larger, some are smaller, but everybody has some space.
다이나 가서 아리 나라용 차위 진이 티니 페나 가서 무대사간 감바마토 티니요 하크 작사다 틴디글 하칸 초사 틴디 록스 틴디 용켄 용켄형 요래형 맹켄형 요래지데 강바티소 배공침부인 비김승기
But coming to America, it is possible that there is no separate space for shrines in people's houses. Maybe some people have them, but others don't. Probably this is due to the expense of living spaces.
다든지 하강단 초사 요나 디나란도니 가서 검잡고 그래서
But if we have a shrine room or a place for making offerings, then this is the place to go to do meditation.
되니 메나가서 수선 녀칸 거나라 되니 녀츠 마츠가 돌란드니 검잡나 그래서
And if we don't have such a place, then it is fine for us to meditate in our bedrooms, even possibly sitting on our beds.
다든지 인디 당봉 가서 리포 되니 네 gum japsar tila lipo go thone teni lipo go litsik tila teni pe tornam she go gores tambo.
The first thing that we need to do is to pay proper attention to the posture of our body.
Teni litsik tila teni litsik dunyo res.
And there are 7 points with regards to our posture that we need to pay attention to.
Teni ngaso kangba nika teni chetung chanin de go gores.
The first of these is to sit in a cross-legged position.
Teni ch gargin rata yana kangba teni napan rata teni yenna tenga so teni ndukche go tola ndgne jamna nemch ta so go tola deni jamna ndgres.
For people who are old or who have some kind of physical problem, then it is fine to sit on a bed or sit on a chair.
Teni indi teni tangbo ngaso shirtang mi chama teni tangbo kangba nika teni chetung cha go re teschigres.
For people who are of ordinary good health, then the first thing to do is sit in a cross-legged position.
Teni lakpa nika ngarang pena lakpa yomban rawoina teni olaja. Teni lakpa ye pati tolaja. Teni theong nika rawan theong nika teni thotne teni dendi jego gore tela teni ngaso nyamjak ka shakja gore nyamjak ka shakja nyamjak zena teni gum gyabya ka shakja rawore dendi che teni chi sawi jini teni ngaso teni powa teni tewa gola sormu jo chamla dan dendi rawozla teni jagne dendi che gores teni te nipa deres litsknani nipa res.
And the second bodily posture that we need to adopt is to place our right hand in our left hand and to bring our 2 thumbs together. This is called the posture of meditative equipoise, or the mudra of meditative equipoise. We then place our hands at a point about 4 fingers width beneath our navel.
Teni simba de ngaso teni lakpa teni pongba ni par gyangni ndendi de gores ndendi da oshini teni dena ngaso chakba ta jablok ta tsu sama te yingrang body ti na yung gre ndendi par gyangni ndendi de gore te simba res.
The third point is to sit with our shoulders spread evenly. If we tense them for a long time, they will ache. So it's important to sit with our shoulders spread evenly.
Teni jipa de ngaso lipote trangmo shine de gore tandeni yela teni yomba ayonla yana jabla teni ayonyen kama trangmo shine de gore te jipa res.
The fourth point is to sit straight, to sit with an upright spine. So we shouldn't be leaning forwards or back or to the left or the right.
Inna trangmo chena te rangshin ki go ne chil hopunda o go ne trangmo she go re ma to pata shipun nindi shine ndna teni gatsing nala na yung gres.
However, it's important when we sit upright that we sit in a natural kind of upright posture, that we don't do so with too much effort, because if we try too hard, we make too much effort, then our spine will hurt.
드니 ngo gergo gores tan dinda bo shin yang de marita te dinda bo gores.
We also need to tilt our head slightly forward, so slightly lower our chin.
Dini te nga pares.
And that's the fifth point.
Dini jigbati azu muk ta kap kap sing azu yang muk tindi chil harkan da thangkan da tindi la ta go ya tindi yore. Karti tindi mena dini maran dini ngol mar dini mar ta go ngol la dini ta go res muk ola mar dini ta go res.
And in terms of how we fix our gaze, there are cases when we need to be gazing at an object in front of us. But when we do not need to do this, then our gaze should be fixed past the tip of our nose. So we should be having a slightly lowered gaze.
Teni owu teni lempi kapsa teni kha tang na tang chama ga na ni teni parkale teni muk rangjin gi lopo shine teni partong ya tang tsar lemba.
And in terms of our breathing, we should breathe through our mouth and through our nose just naturally as we ordinarily would.
And
that's the seventh point. And by sitting, by meditating in an upright posture like this, it's very beneficial for our meditation.
당아서 보거나라 되니 롱바단 롱바다 티소나라 딘디 제네 되니 대고레 되니 검잡고 그래지나 내가서 망석고나라 카시게티 못 사본다 딘디 쓰근도스.
In Tibet, in the countryside, there are some people who would feel embarrassed to think of sitting upright like this, meditating.
되니 못 사고이 점성강래지나 다 남긴 딘디 제네 덴켄트소 라마단 잡아단 되니 딘디 이제스. Teni tangaso macha pomon dena korante tsu tok mabde anda o semnala chi teni da yongon dose te rete ina te ngo sa goes te chawane mare ngaso ngo chada go mare ta ngaso pe na shulok lada nindi go gomjam ken go macha pomon la pe mambo do chapar te pe na nashok me chogote pe gom mambo ja kun do o teni yendi o ta ngarang dindi che de janda te ngo chabonda ore samken te yo yuki mares.
And the reason that some people feel embarrassed or awkward is because they think that sitting upright like this is something that monks and lamas do. And that's why they feel awkward and embarrassed. But there's in fact no reason to feel awkward and embarrassed. Many people, lay people in other parts of the world, particularly here in the West, a lot of lay people do meditation. So there's no reason to feel embarrassed.
Teni tindi yendi nga 좀 망sok teni macha pomo so gibayena pomeyena teni gambbayena lon용ena yenda manda teni gomjabgo 그래서 가서.
So it's really important that among lay people, whether women, men, old people or young people, that everybody does some meditation.
Teni tela Jimson pe mambo yoreda ta terang asu tisok wangate mambo lab khamendu Jimson pe mambo yores gomjab go Jimson kerang so Jimson kare rezena ta Jimson pe mambo jangji yores kangstar tin asu terang de komba mendu ta ena kale chama soso singre te indi kangstar gomde jab go ndo se asu ni matakpar tinti gomjawe tiso te 통통 rawo tinti yona pe ha lepa simtokla pamba yungre.
The reasons why we should meditate, I today, due to a lack of time, aren't able to go into. But if you ask why we should meditate, what the reasons are, well, there are just so many. And slowly, gradually, everyone will be able to understand the reasons why we should meditate. In any case, putting some time aside every day for meditation is very important.
다 다른 가서 돈닥 쓰면 요새 답송아 디는 돈닥 담보대 리포 측대래 다텔랑 가서 낭추고 나라 남낭추 든제 제요래
sorry. So we just mentioned that there were three things to pay attention to with regards to meditation. The first of these was attending to our bodily postures. The 7 points that we just covered there are the 7 postures of Vairocana.
tani ta nipa de kangre zena tani ngaso gom japi nekbla shirda ngaso gom mawjipi nekbs tani ngaso semga nala tani namtong ramandra pe halepa mangbo tani jeze tani ngaso pe na mi semze ate kanti zena ngaso namjin tani nyam te la tohnang chege yomare kalte tohnang jena ngaranso mi semze ate pe na kanik tani pensa tani sacha tenra oreze pe na sacha kashi la 다 가니 종kirchik 가니 참마 말링니 되니 가니 룽군라고 된지도와 어디 가니 라완라고 된지스레스 가서 셈데.
So usually when we're not meditating, the state of our minds, the state of the minds of ordinary people is full of all kinds of discursive thought. In fact, you could say that our minds are just like a big rubbish bin, a great big rubbish receptacle full of decaying rubbish.
Teni kanik rawa ganala ngaso karte khambas jabgona tambu teni kanik te so par mepa shini changma shini teni mar sarkone khamba jabgo re ma to kanik ti thola teni khambas jabna te khamba jab tabko menduwas.
So if we wish to build a house in a rubbish yard, in a dump, it's necessary that we first clear away the rubbish in order to build the house. It's not possible to build the house immediately on top of the rubbish.
Teni tedan raposhi de tambung aso semganala yupi teni namtok so parte mepa shini teni gomjab go ndose mato ngaso semganala teni namtok mamboz teni jarne teni ti thola gomjabna etes le lapo mares.
So that's why it's important that to begin with, we clear away some of this discursive thought in order that we can meditate. If we start out straight away trying to meditate amid so much conceptual thought activity, then it'll be difficult.
Tenim namtung mebakani chego orezena teni ngaso ou teni lenserta ou lenya ou partongyata teni semganala teni samlotaya teni la teni namtok par meba teni sama teni chego ores.
So how do we go about clearing away some of this conceptual thought activity? Well, we can do this through the exhalation and inhalation of our breath, paying attention to these two things.
So
everyone, please look at me. First of all, we need to do this with our hand.
Teni temung ko teni on din techung ko go tokla teni de nipa de chenlag zagrewa teni ngatson temung ko teni ti tsawala parte nangu res tambo nan teni tenan sarvi jini teni ngatso jamba teni solmo jete ti tola janin drigo ren dela ngatso sang ka nangla dorji khatsar ze shirtang khatsar ngatso shirtang gyabi go khatsar jana ndri chegrewa teni ma che nangla janin ndri chena teni dorji khasraze gare tangbon dendri che gores teni dendri che ne teni ngacho la ga teni sa teni yepa da yomba ga ni la teni chaksa teni bombo teni ni yore ze ngacho so arg pa ga nala teni parsa da docha odize yore ti larsa yepa da yomba la chaksa ni doa oti tola ma nanne de zi xing rao jamni nanne laba yomba ga tangbo dendri che gos de chiji.
So what we need to do is press our thumb into the base of our fourth finger and then fold our fingers over the top. And when we make a fist in this way, this is called making a Vajra fist. Then we bring this fist down to the channel in the fold in our groin, and we press our fist into it. So we first do this with our left hand.
Teni lakpa ye parewa chama gante la ta lakpa ye pa na teni nga cho yang themong go teni chen lak teni sa de la nan go ren de la nan teni tari nga cho yomba da mandawa kangresena ta zumu 공줍즈가 공줍디 야르드니 장고거래 잠바 창 도지 거스르지 teni lakpa khayarar korni tambo nga cho bimu go tholandni jakgores.
With our right hands, we similarly press our thumb to the base of our fourth finger and fold over the rest of our fingers. The difference, however, is that we keep our index finger extended. And then we bring this hand over to rest on our right knee.
Teni pimu tola jagne teni kandi go rezna teni yar yong ne lakpa yar kyagne o teni nga chu nakong ipa wa lakpa ipa teni nakong ipa go tola nang go re inda nakong ipa go tola mannen bi kong nga chu wugchiglen go re teni wugchiglen ne teni nang go res.
So then what we do is we bring this hand up before pressing it to our right nostril. We inhale one breath, and then we close our right nostril with our index finger.
Oya teni nanni tanga chu nakong yoma ga nani teni wugte mara rangbo chini tang go res teni
and in closing our right nostril, we need to exhale slowly through our left nostril.
Teni ti kapsanga chu gomya te pe karchishu ngomate gomya te res.
And when we do this, the most important thing is the meditation that we do at the same time.
Teni gomya kari gomgo rezina ta ngarang so teni semga nala yopi namtok o teni nyumba teni digba mergiwa teso changma yongsu jogba de o teni dawa nakpo dawa teni lung nakpo jina dawa rago ta dawa sina tukendo dawa nakpo pena nga cho langkor kashi ga nangla langkor ti chimbo ti so kashi ga nangla teni dawa yongsa ti nangla dawa nakpo rago teni yong dawa ta korigla nopa ti tohnang chingking ga teni ga sachala da teni yo marda ta korig so tohnang chimbo mesa ga sacha ti sola ti langkor ga korang ga ti wuk partonga ti nangla teni toa nanglo teni yong dawa o teni japo ngarang ga namtokta teni ngarang ga nyumba ta digba ta chama teni dawa nakpo teni zrene teni ngarang ga nakong ga nani chama parshilgola par teni song o parshilgola teni pe song samne desam gore semnangla teni sam gos.
So the visualization that we do during this is we visualize all of our negative thoughts, all of our afflictions, all the unvirtuous things that we've done in the form of a black smoke. And this black smoke is like the really dirty exhaust that comes out the back of big trucks in places where they don't care too much about the environment. So we need to visualize all of our negative thoughts and afflictions in the form of a black kind of vapor, and then we expel this gradually through our left nostril.
Oda teni chene teni chu teni par lan chu che teni yang teni yar kyagne teni wu salne ule yang marna ne yang teni wu par phat teni wu teni lan chu lan ni lan sim che go res thang sim che go res di nani nga so na kong yom ba ga nani thang sim go res.
So we need to do this 3 times. Between each time we take away our finger, we inhale once again, and then we exhale once again. So in total, we do this 3 times on the right side.
Teni sim teni jewi kapsa teni gomyati chikpare gomyati chikpa sikyang ma to yo mari yangkir gomnan rikres gomsir jamba yo mari tari kongla shapati chikpare.
And then after we do this 3 times on that side, when we repeat it, we continue with exactly the same visualization.
Oda teni che tsari jini teni nga so yang lakpa ye da yun je go re teni ta lakpa tari ndishok yomba shokla teni teni che dorji khazar je teni la teni ye pa ga tsawala nan teni nga so lakpa yomba ga teni ndri che ti thola ja teni yang ndri che ne ta o parton ya so chik ba chikyang re teni nga so yang che lam go mari teni yang yomba ga nane thang chu thani thang sim teni che go res.
So after we've done it 3 times on one side, then we change it over and we do exactly the same thing on the other side. So we press our dorji fist into the energy point, the channel point in the fold of our other side, and we close our other nostril, and then we inhale and exhale and complete the same visualization.
Teni ti gola ta nga so lakpa ndindi chaman deta nga so lakpa ye ni ka ndindi che Neriche nika dorji kasarche teni la yo nika ga tsala teni nanne teni ta na ye pa yum ba nika ga nan yara teni wolen teni mara teni chu che teni ni che sim teni che go res.
And then after we've repeated this 3 times on the other side, finally we make a dorji fist with, or a vajra fist with both of our hands. We press these fists into the channel point in the fold of our groin on both sides of our legs, and then we inhale through both nostrils, we exhale through both nostrils, and we do this 3 times.
Teni ti jilang aso karisam ko rezena ta ngarang ka teni sem ganala yo pi namtok. Teso tsama teni shelola sone teni chini semdang teni nine sosorang ka lipo teso par tsangma tsangkyang teni chakne pena nga so shirk janthongsa teni shirk porwanduwa te chenangla chene tsangma she jakban rawo teni zreni angarang ka lipo teni re song samne semnangla teni samgo res.
And through doing this, what we need to think, or what we need to visualize, is that both our minds and our bodies have become extremely clear, have become extremely pure, just like washing a glass, and so that it becomes lucid and clear and clean. So of the 3 steps that we spoke about, this is the second step.
Teni sambati ta nga so sem kanala teni gumgo gore teni tangbo kare gumgo zena nga so namkhan teni mdengi namkhala teni tomba sanji shakja thapa teni nga so la teni sarkhorni teni jigona yana nga so tar parangkhorni jigona kansar teni tomba sanji teni gumgo gore sanji shakja thapa ngarang tan denna yo samni teni gumgo gore.
And the third step is visualizing in front of us the Shakyamuni Buddha. Whether he is facing us or facing away from us, we need to visualize him slightly above our head.
Tene gombi kapsang aso sosorang teni tsawi lama teni musar ka aso la sosola rana sosola tsawi lama teni yona teni mena penang gururum boche nare teni je chongka ba yena ta kang nam dorna rana la tsawi lama kang yona teni tsawi lama tang teni sanji nika teni ngowo chikpa teni yin samni teni sanji te ndengi namkala teni yo samni teni aso semkana teni samgo res.
And so we need to visualize in front of us one's root lama. If one doesn't have a root lama, Guru Rinpoche or Je Tsongkhapa, we need to think of them as indivisible in essence from the Shakyamuni Buddha, and visualize them in front of us.
Teni te gom tsari jini teni ngaso sondip che go res sondip che kapse teni ngaso sanji ga teni san jut go re tap chumden de tebyang saba dap chum bayang tak por jok sanji shakja thabala samsalom chodo chapsu cho teni na chokore yangman ngak jangna jukre ta 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 ummane mane ma mana iso teni na chokondu gangstar teni ngak jangni teni sorwa yakbo deb go re teni sondip ga ta teni ngak jang go res.
And then having visualized the Shakyamuni Buddha in front of us like this, we need to supplicate the Buddha. So we can do this by chanting the mantra of the Shakyamuni Buddha's name, or doing a longer refuge. In any case, the next stage is supplicating the Buddha.
Teni sanji teni gomni teni ta ngaso sorwa karidap go rezena ta sanji la teni tapa yakpo jerni ta sanji teni ngarang ta tari ngarang gom di thola ngarang diksan di thola teni gom yakpo ngarang gella kya teni shenlup naro nang zeni teni sanji la teni sorwa tamni lama ta sanji la sorwa teni go ni sorwa temne teni ngakte dang go res.
So in terms of what it actually is that we supplicate the Buddha for, we ask the Buddha that on the strength of our faith, that in this meditative session, that we receive his blessing so that we have a good meditative result. So we supplicate our Lama and the Buddha in this way.
And
we don't need to do this for a particularly long period of time, just 5 minutes or so would be enough.
Teni te tsarwi jini teni ngaso ta sondip je tsarwi jini teni ngaso ta sangje ga teni kuli ga teni ta ne kale tsara wot teni rene teni tama teni sangje ga teni 그 띠니 메파 띠니 오충충 띠니 충충 띠니 레송 삼네 대삼고레스.
And then after we finish supplicating, we need to then visualize the Buddha dissolving into the Buddha's body, dissolving into light, and then finally dissolving into a very small pearl of light.
Tini ti wote ngaso tini deni lapa tini go tini ndana ngaso la tini chala tini stanchil tini zindwa tini mar tini sone shaksigni mar lipo nangla ngaso lipo nangla sone tini ma yone tini nyangka ndela tini yongwi kapse tini da ngarang ka semda tini sanji ga yishirwa ti wote sanji ga yishirwa tini yermet tini resong samne tini
And then we need to visualize this small pearl-like drop of light that represents the Buddha's wisdom as entering our bodies through the crown of our head, then slowly descending through our bodies until when it reaches our heart, we visualize our own mind and the Buddha's wisdom being indivisible.
Teni tendri chene ta sanji yishi ta ngarang ka sem chikpare song samne teni ti thola ngaso namtok ka mepa shine semnala namtok ka marki wa shine teni te de go re teni karma chin rabo yin rambo de thap ko mare karma chin rawo teni zla teni samlo chawani matang ne sem go nala namtok chikyang mepa shine pena semte ngarang so noka tomba ro pena noka ga nala ta 요나 응보 상마 마르페나 치 포르와가나라 치요나 치 상마 마르 조니 되니 코랑 똥바 텔라 자판라고 지니 셈낭라 지지 메파시니 되니 티토라데 지데고 레스 카르마 칭라오 닌라오 데지데고 레스
And having meditated on our own minds being indivisible from that of the Buddha, we then need to just rest in this state, in a natural state, a state of no thought activity whatsoever for about 1 minute or so. So it doesn't have to be for a particularly long time, but in this is a state of no thought, just resting, abiding in a natural state.
땅아서 곰곰문로 저래 마음발랑아서 곰 가리 잡나요 참아라티 몰라 틴디치니 용고레 골라마르 틴디체 고레 생아서 올라티니 곰티 질라티니 타 곰자마라 mambo요레 이나 티 연추티 차버지지요 마르 곰 강잡나 고티 틴디 작고레스.
So what we've just covered here are the preliminary part of any meditation practice. So after this can come any kind of other main core meditative practice, but whatever practice it is, we should always start off in this way with these preliminary stages.
어따띠올라 티니 곰자마라 mambo요레 데랑아서 티니 띠올라 곰니 ngotro세케연스.
So there are many potential meditative methods that we can do from here. Today I would like to introduce two. Both of these methods are extremely simple ones.
So
even though they are simple methods, if we're actually able to put them into practice, then the benefit they can bring us is very great.
Deni gumdeni ina ngaso sanga dorji tapane penal hobjik ketini nyantu parta ngaso nangba sama gumya tini gumzres.
And these two methods that I'm going to introduce are ones that exist in all of the Buddhist traditions, right from the Vajrayana down to the teachings of the Theravada tradition.
Deni tambo hugdangya teres hugdangya.
And the first of these is counting breath.
These days in
many different kinds of meditation are being popularized in society. However, it's it would be very troublesome if we tried to do all of these different kinds of methods. So it's really important that we practice reliable methods in Buddhism.
zonken yoris.
And then there are some people who say that we need to invent new methods of meditation.
Teni kashi nga zo nang chugo nani chilin, jagar ke chugo nang chilin, ti nani chilin, tsu changma sini, teni khorang ke chik sarwa zo teni zonken yoris.
And then there are people who take bits and pieces from Hinduism and other religious traditions and mix them up together and make new approach techniques.
다 gum sarwa zo na tele lapo maris, so gum yakpo jamni nyamnyo pa hali pa yakpo yona sarwa te sina chokjire ma to shertang aso pe khambores.
Inventing new styles of meditation is not an easy thing whatsoever, unless one's meditation is very strong indeed. Otherwise, it is not an easy thing to do.
Teni nga zo nang chugo nala yo depi khungyo longyo ko gumte jamna te nyenkachi mindus.
But the meditative methods that exist, tried and true, reliable methods in Buddhism, have no danger.
ata ti nani gumte kangrezina tambo nga zo wuk teni nga zo wuk parchu tang. Teni wuk tsarchu len, teni ka changaschu tsugo res, changaschu res.
So the first of these, which the first method that I'm introducing, that of counting breath, entails us exhaling one breath, inhaling, and then counting that as one breath.
Teni tenri chene teni chu ne teni ni sam je nga chu dun seni dung ka parte yara jang go res.
And when we do this, we need to count for 7 breaths.
Teni yang get good chizi chu warta jang kan yang yo res ta teni kan chena jukun dus.
In some methods, people count for 9 breaths. In any case, both are all right.
Teni tele mangni jingni chisam teni mambo jang jang na yang atso sempara yang do re te mambo jang na yang po yo mares.
But if we count for longer sets than this, then our minds easily wander. So that's why it's not good to count for too many breaths.
Teni chingni dun jang, teni dun re saru jini yang kyer, teni yang chingni yang chu ni sang je nga zi dun chi. Teni yang dun ni yang lar yang yong ni yang chu ni sam zi teni dun re shi ni teni gum go res.
So what we need to do is meditate in sets of 7 breaths, from 1 to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 7. And when we reach 7, then we return back to 1 and then complete another set of 7 breaths.
Teni ti kaps nga so nam tok sama te teni rug shi ni. Janga chipu, janga dang chipu tok la teni rug chi ni. Teni jak go res. Ta nam gi ni na nga so nam tok te pe na ayar ka panga na la charam ba pa ta ore. Pang na la charam ba na 다 가사가와 상마 치고 캬비오리 된다 보시네 가서 양 람상 더삼 거래 양 대삼 거래 다지 강숑 멍숑 된지 제지 띵띵 가서 닥부 잡야 짜라네요 말에 다 다린다 보였나 다 가서 남쪽 상마 르르지 르르지니 되니 다 장가 잡네 치우세 니세 된지 도고 그랬어.
So by doing this, what we do is we concentrate our discursive activity on one object of focus. Usually our conceptual, our thought activity is all over the place. It's rather like rain on a field. There's water everywhere. And with thoughts going this way and thoughts going that way, it's impossible that we can really manage them all. So that's why in this practice, we focus our thought solely on counting the breath.
Teni nga zo pang tola teni charwan ba bi kaps ta gasa gawala teni chi teni yim bi kaps teni nga zo pang nang la mara teni chi shak teni chi kona teni pang teni chi de chama ti chi shak na lan do ni ti chi shak na te la chi yore ma to jamba so ina chi mang bo me ba teni re gres ta tin da bo shi ni nga zo nam to chama rig chi ni teni janga tola par teni ta korang ti tola roya ma to ba jamba yu
So just as when rain is falling on a field, if we were to dig some kind of channel, then all of the water would flow into that channel. So it's the same with this meditation. By counting the breath, we bring all of our thought activity to focus on this object.
Teni di kapsa nga so teni ndepala samlo taya, maung bala samlo taya, teni tarti samlo chijang mepa jang ya ma tok ba jamba chi samlo mepa shini teni jang ne teni she go res.
So during this practice, we don't give rise to thoughts of the past, the future, or the present. The only thought or conceptual activity that we are doing is counting the breath.
실당 장정해야 돼요. 그런 남쪽식 레시티 있나다 그런 남쪽식만 또요 말인 잠을 만보요 말했더니 셈약부 용야라 판바요레스 당보 딘디지나 판바요레스.
So even though counting the breath is a form of conceptual activity, it's just one form of conceptual activity. It's not all over the place. And so that's why, at least in the beginning, we need to start off with this.
데니 띠값은 아주 남성하고 그래. 딘디시니 다 남쪽상마 르르지니 데니 장장하고 돌아 장니 장장디 데 남성 아주 코리게 할레바 말은 장보당 배나 자충충스 장나야 다 나트 배 남진이나 자트리오나 지고면도 자충충스리 메나 때배 사로 덴디스더니 차용 그랬어. 데니 때 셈거나 배 셈파 땅무 레니 덴디제 그랬어.
And by doing this, by bringing our conceptual attention to focus on just one object, we will immediately discover that our minds become extremely peaceful, extremely tranquil, such that even a very, very slight sound we can hear. Usually, because we're so distracted, all kinds of sounds might occur, but we don't hear any of them. So in this state, our mind becomes very peaceful, very quiet.
검잡게 연세대 참아 같더니 리포가 어디니 가서 지종자야다 되니 내 다리 공 랍송왔지 아스.
So we are going to do some meditation together now. So everybody please bring yourselves into a cross-legged position.
당가서 네 늑사가 돌란득 나는 조금 더스.
It's okay to cross your legs sitting on the chair if you'd like.
데니 대랑님 고스니다 가서 금 참아 잡고 그랬어.
So from today onwards, all of us need to do meditation.
야, 데니 가서 금 잡아야지 간디제 다 냠뇽고 고니 가서 냠스뇽고 그랬어.
So as to how we should meditate, we all need to gain some experience.
가서 미 참아 같더니 락반 덴디지 아스.
Everybody, please prepare your hands.
야, 데니 장보 진도스.
And sit upright.
And
tilt your head slightly forwards.
And
slightly lower your gaze. So everyone please prepare well like this. So just before we talked about the method of expelling stale breath. We don't have time for that today. But in the future, in your own practice, you should do this. So everybody please focus your attention. We're going to focus on the breath and counting our breath, the exhalation and inhalation, counting that as one. So just as when we are going to fire a gun or we're going to shoot an arrow, we bring our attention solely onto that particular focus. Right now we want to bring our focus completely onto our breath. So aside from counting our breaths, we don't want to have any other kind of thought activity. So we're going to count from 1 to 7 and then do this 3 times over. So 3 sets of 7. So from 1 to 7, then back to 1 again. We do this for 3 sets. Everybody, prepare yourselves. So no talking or anything like this. So it's maybe not possible to keep the kids from running around, but everybody keep your minds focused.
야, 되니 다 nga 중군 저거야. 다 잡잡지 참마가 되니 가자셔야다. 야타 말다지야다. 되니 마지야.
So everybody, we're going to start now. Please, no talking or anything like that.
야, 다 nga 저거만디 우장시 다 담보치 니즈네 장란송지. 소소 셈가나라 장나 초거레티 자 고마레 갓잡니 치니 텐디시 고마레스.
So we're going to start now. Just counting in your own mind is fine. We don't need to count out loud.
야, 다 건저거야.
So we'll start now.
야, 되니 다 든 아주 장송아시.
So we've come to the end of 3 sets of 7.
되니 띠값은 아주 되니 약보 잡잡지나 우 장야가 남토도 요래 마도 대 마임비 남토 참아 매바창도 그래서.
So if we focus with attention like this, then aside from the conceptual activity of counting the breath, there will be no other kind of thought activity.
되니 아주 남긴 곰 깡잡나야 띵고라 띵디 우 장야테 란슴 띵디 장나 셈마리 약보 용야라 판바요 그래서.
And regardless of what particular meditative method it is we're practicing, if we start off by doing 3 sets of 7 of counting the breath, this has the benefit of bringing our mind into a state of calmness.
되니 가땡아 저 장야 곰데 때지 연 랑본다 곰 삼난 초코레지 당아서 다리 슴 장송아 다저가 저 띵디가 든착가 슴 곰송아 다든저 든가 든즉 어떤지 참아 배나 치수 제간다고 추석 직본라고나 참아 되네 우정아 짱바곰나 대 약보요레스.
It's also possible to do this method of counting breath for an entire meditative session. So just now we did 3 sets of 7, but it's possible to continue with these sets for a period of half an hour or an hour.
되니 때 가서 때랑 그때니 곰 못주지야 당보대연스.
So that's the first meditation method that I wanted to introduce to you today.
되니 니빠더 되니 ndo 당진 jarbo 제가 되니 ndo 당 되니 가서 흥악 니까 나라 되니 송이 된지가 양곰 되니 빼약보 레라보 레당보바 냠슬레나 렌초종라고 되니 그래서 니빠디.
The second method that I'd like to introduce to you is one that is found in the Sutra, the King of Samadhi's Sutra. It's also found in the Tantras too. It's an easy, accessible form of meditation that anyone can practice.
야, 다티 강레즈나 당봉아서 돈바상지 시작자다 그 어더니 다 치숑이나 때 받친든지 잡고 즈 드니 가서 잡득제고 그래서 돈바상지 시작자다 그
So the first thing we need for this is an image of the Shakyamuni Buddha, probably as big as this iPad. This is what we first need to get ready.
다 총총이나 되니 소모지 총총이나 소모지 되니 치보이나 소소런 거 트강 되니 네 받던다고 된디즈 당가 최종 된디즈 고그레스.
So in terms of the possible size of this image, the smallest size would be the length or the width of 4 fingers. The longest or largest size would be 1 cubit's length, so the length between the top of one's hand and one's elbow.
되니 그때 되니 하장 그 첨부 된디나 안테 가서 남쪽 바라더니 잠조 그래서 되니 최종 데모 단진다 보쇼 단진다 보지나 같이 답데 보레스.
If the image is too big, then our thoughts kind of wander, they go everywhere. So it's more convenient if we work with a smaller image.
되니 그때라 람니 제고레스 가서 라마치라 람니 시고레스.
And it's important that we consecrate the image. We have a lama consecrated.
어때니 람니 시사위 지네 되니 가서 그때 되니 가서 타카텔라 자고레스 당 가서 먹은들이 타카 따나 촉사 야르들이 다 마른들이 다 말고 파타카르타사 Dindinda pozla tets jangrambunda was tola jangola paradini jana yana gaina tindi jagores kete.
And then we need to place the image in front of us in our direct field of vision. So we shouldn't have it placed so that we have to look down or look up. We need to place it in front of us at some distance, whether it be on the wall, and look at it directly.
Dini keti dini dunla ta dini chopa. 맞좀 초파 답디즈 자고레 페나 메톤라오다 치나 어딘디 답디즈 자고레스.
And then in front of the image, we need to make an offering, a very simple offering. Just an offering of flowers or water would be sufficient.
이망부고 말레스.
We don't need a lot of offerings.
가르디 마르민라 딘디 장나 디 마르메 준냥 금문두스 마르메 메 바르냥 금문두스 가르디 뿐라 딘디 장나 양 뿌데 양 딘디 메라 딘디 샤냥 금문두 가르제나 도와다 딘디 요나 무라 딘디 무크 딘디 따투 그마레스.
If the offering that we place is a butter lamp, we shouldn't light it because the smoke that it emits will irritate our eyes.
Deni tindi shine ngola jerne ta ngaso mugni poti tini tomba sanje shakja tapa thukar ndela tago res thukala mugni poti sanje ga thukala tani ta ningni poti na par zik songa ro tindi shine tago res.
And with our eyes, we need to fix our eyes on the point at the Buddha's heart.
Deni nik tini ta yarta marta mambo shinyang gamendus.
So we shouldn't be moving our eyes around the place. They should be fixed on this point.
Deni muk zamya te yang teni ta yang muk mambo zam teni shep zam mambo mushi ta yang muk zawani ma zam na yang muk nang ni chiung gari muk na yung gari ta te zam muk zam nyong nyong rawo teni shena teni yang yakbo res sem yakbo yung ala pantok yo res.
And we should try not to blink too much. Of course, it's not possible to not blink at all because then our eyes will hurt, but we should try not to blink too much. This has benefit for our minds.
Teni muk 그 산지가 특걸라다 되니 수딩아 수 샘때리 되니 샘때 양 산지가 특걸라 파르탄니 묵다 되니 미심 사마 산지가 특걸라 파르또 틈송한다고 되니 지고 오래생아 좀 묵니까다 되니 샘때서 사마 산지가 특걸라 파르 틈송한다고 되니 주시니 되니 띠통네 낙도잠바지지 메바시니 되고 오래스.
So what we need to do is fix our 2 eyes on the point at the Buddha's heart, and not just our 2 eyes but also our mind. We need to have our 2 eyes and our mind focused on this point to such an extent that it's almost as if our eyes and our minds dissolve into the Buddha's heart. So in this state, we need to just rest in this state, giving rise to no thoughts at all.
Then 이 값은 아가서 샘거나라 남쪽 잠바 참아 말 메바시고 그래서.
And so when we're in this state, we need to stop all of the other thoughts.
Then 대가서 딸이 옥장와 대리장 then 다 샘마페 샘 then 잠보제나 말에 샘거나라페 할레파 진점제나 지와제는 저것도 샘 할레파 지와레니 다른 가서 남쪽 있나 남쪽 옥장와 있나 남쪽 잠바요 말다 양 옥장근도와 주 니생도 남쪽 대세된도와 다 다리 남딱 참아 메바시니 메바시니 되니 티 묵당 되니 셈니까 상지가 타칼라 파탐바라오 시니 테 셈가나라 치치 메바시니 되니 데고레 테 곰레제 테 곰레 테리 잠치 고마레제 네크브레 테 가서 곰 참아들이제요 말와 테 다링 아주 셰피 곰테 테레스.
So by meditating in this way with our eyes and our mind focused on the Buddha's heart, it's we can bring our mind into a state of great stillness, of great equanimity, great peacefulness. The stillness or the peacefulness that we can achieve in this state is even greater than in the meditation that we just did where we're counting breath. The reason being that during that meditation we do still have some conceptual activity. We're still counting the breath. Whereas in this meditation we're letting go of all thought activity completely. We just have our eyes, our minds focused on the point at the Buddha's heart, and we've let go of all thoughts. So we just abide in this state of no thought, and this is this meditation. Of course, this meditation, it doesn't represent all meditative methods, but this is the second kind of meditation that I wanted to introduce today.
당아서 리포 대체 ang아서 검잡 그 연세 다른 아서 리포 공라티니 리스크 남낭 출든 제공도와 대지에서 정말 리포 돌아 So let's all practice this meditation now. Let's start by paying attention to our bodily postures as we mentioned before, sitting upright. And we're going to meditate now for 1 minute. Tindeni thakala tini tana tasuso kangla dena tela tini mukta gores.
So wherever you are sitting, then so there are images of the Shakyamuni Buddha behind me. There's an image of the Shakya Buddha in front of me. Just fix your eyes wherever it is convenient, depending on where you're sitting.
Tindi gumti pe payun chembo yonsone tindi song dogzem do na dan do na nika anala pe hale pa payun chembo rezen tindi gumti saji kulate tani gumbate pe hale pa payun chembo res.
In both the sutras and the tantras, it is said that this particular meditation, that focuses on the body of the Buddha, is of great benefit indeed.
Tindi ngatso muni gyang rambona yonken so undi saji ka tindi yabo rikmena 당아서 상김메나 당아서 늘라 요 병우보 강이나 되는 우부 총총 되 르무라오 된디나 강이나 된디스 그 돌라 되니 묵다니 너나야 조금 더지 묵지 그 돌라 딴 파르탄니 드고 야르타 마르타 mambo 마시니 찔라탄니 드고 그래서 단 남긴 약슈팅 가서 상지 그거리지 상지 그까르테 메나 당아서 야나 셈고 나라 삼나 조금 더 초코레다 다 쪼데 가서 당부 값을 홍올라 되니 페나
So for those of you who are sitting a little far away and who perhaps can't see these Buddha images behind me, it's fine for you to focus on anything slightly in front of you. It might be a pattern or a picture on the back of the chair in front of you, so you can focus on this. That's no problem. Just don't move your eyes around, just focus on one thing. It's best, of course, that we use the image of the Buddha as our object of meditation to begin with, but it's fine if you meditate in this way. So everybody, please prepare yourselves by fixing your gaze on the image of the Buddha, or for those who are sitting a little far away, by some other object immediately in front of you. So during this meditation, there is nothing that we need to think. This is a meditation that does not involve thought activity. So this is a meditation which entails no thought. Not all meditative methods are like this. Not all meditative methods are like this. But during this particular meditation, we let go of all thought activity.
다 참마 가서 산지 깔라타나 깔라타나 잡두기야포치아스.
So depending on what you're looking at, whether it be the Buddha or something else, please everyone prepare yourselves.
드니 셈 로포 제네 가서 드니 셈 르륵 제네 드니 산지가 타깔라 파라 틈송한다고 드니 셰고 그래스.
And with a relaxed but focused mind, please focus your intention on this single point.
드니 가서 카르마치글라 곰잡기야스 참마 셈토야보 데스.
So we're going to meditate for 1 minute.
단 군정기야스.
And begin now.
때 카르마치 그래스.
So that's 1 minute.
때 카르마치 그 곰제 그래스.
That's a 1 minute meditation.
남긴이 있나 땡디스 그 용거 말해스.
That's not how we usually do it.
드니 디 곰티 카르지나 페나가소티 탕카 응올라 드니 르무트고나 담봉아소 탕카 쇼데 레지티 잠보 치니 드니티 토라 르무트고도와 대당담보 담봉아소 셈테만 잠봉라오 제야가 딘디가 돈다 레스.
So it's just like when we are going to paint a tanka, we first need to prepare the surface that we're painting on. So as it is with meditation, first we need to bring our minds into a state of stillness.
드니 곰티 드니 잡이캅스 당아소 남긴이나요. 티 곰 잡스라 다링아소 공라티니 샤파티시포 마임 바타로 망그라고 드니 당아소 셈파라가 양소나 간지고요. 연트소 콜라 타롱아소 시고야 맘보즈도스.
Normally, in meditation, besides what we've just looked at today, there's a lot more instructions about what we should do. For example, what we do when our mind wanders and so forth. So we still have a lot to learn about. However, today I just don't have the time to go into these things. But everybody really must learn about these in the future. The majority of lay people are solely fixated on the external world. They seldom observe their inner mind or take care of their inner mind. In fact, many people have never looked inwards at the state of their inner minds. But by looking inwards and observing the state of our mind, it is possible to have very good meditative experience. There is no difference between this doesn't make it. There's no difference if somebody is a lay person or not, so long as one is diligent in one's practice and has good faith. Then they can see very good meditative results.
다디 어떤 다 곰틴디스 그때니 답대보 신행아서 첫사성들이
So we've just now finished the instruction on meditation for today's teaching session. And
그냥아서 ngoa 몰음 제가 여 남바탄 제가서 ngo아시
so we're going to end with a dedication.
소놈데이 담저 즈바냐 담네니 베다나 반셰자 지가나 제발론 즈바 즈빈졸린 조아 조바쇼 오마홈 반자르 바마스데 홈 오마홈 반자르 바마 Om Banzangara Bamba Sadaho. Lasso Tijiche, Tenitsamala Tashi Dileja.
Thank you very much, and Dashi Dele to everybody.